Hello everyone. So today we are going to start a chapter named Fluid Distribution and Edema. So before starting my lecture, I just want to remind you that you can see my notes which I provided in the description link that will help you to solidify your concept on this topic. So let's start it. So first of all, 60% of the total body mass in humans is actually water. Okay, so if you have a 60 kg of weight, then 36 kg of your weight is only water. Okay, so our fluid which is present in our body is divided based on different compartments. For example, fluid which is present inside the cell, including red blood cell, comes under the intracellular fluid, which is actually two-thirds of the total body water. Okay, and the fluid which is present outside the cell comes under the extracellular fluid, and this contains one-third of the total body water. And extracellular fluid contains the interstitial fluid and plasma and some cation and anion, in which the interstitial fluid consists of 3/4 of the extracellular fluid, and the plasma fluid is about 1/4 of the extracellular fluid. In this picture you can see that how the fluid which is present in our body is divided into different compartments. You can see that the intracellular fluid contains two-thirds of the total body water. The extracellular fluid consists of remaining one-third of the total body water, and in extracellular fluid 3/4 is the interstitial fluid, and the remaining 1/4 of the extracellular fluid is in plasma volume. So what is interstitial fluid? So interstitial fluid or tissue space is the medium which provide the exchange of gases and nutrients of the cell. And as you know that the plasma volume is present in a blood which contains the uh, proteins like fibrinogen, globulin and albumin. So the membrane which divides the intracellular fluid and extracellular fluid are this cell membrane, and this cell membrane is a relative barrier for sodium. We know that the cell membrane is a semi-permeable membrane, and it allows the fluid to move across through osmosis, but it is a relative barrier for sodium. That is, the sodium can't able to enter into the cell membrane passively. Okay, so similarly, in between the plasma volume and interstitial fluid there is a membrane called capillary membrane, and this capillary membrane is also a relative barrier for proteins, because proteins are the large molecules which is present in the plasma volume, and the membranes, the spaces in the capillary membrane is small, so the proteins can't able to enter from the plasma volume into a interstitial volume. So albumin is the relative barrier for the capillary membrane. So also it is important to note that the vascular compartment, that is in our blood, plasma and red blood cell is present in the vascular compartment, but the plasma is a part of the extracellular fluid, whereas the red blood cell is a cell. So the fluid which is present inside the red blood cell comes under the intracellular fluid. Let's discuss about the major cation and anion which is present in our body. So the potassium ion and magnesium ion are the major cation which is present in the intracellular fluid, and the phosphate ion and proteins are the major anions in the intracellular fluid. So the phosphate ion is present in the DNA, RNA and ATP. So that's why the phosphate anion is higher in the intracellular fluid. In proteins is also a negatively charged molecules. So we know that the proteins are produced in the cell through translation. So that's why proteins are the abundant anion which is present in the cell. In extracellular fluid, the sodium and calcium are the major cation which is present in the extracellular fluid, and the chloride ion and the bicarbonates are the major anion which is present in the extracellular fluid. So you can remember this as that we take the salt. The salt contains what? Sodium and chloride. So we take salt in our diet. That's why this two ions is higher in the extracellular fluid. So we discussed the body fluid compartment and its distribution. So if we were to measure a specific compartment, then we use a tracer. A tracer is a substance which is used to measure a specific compartment. That is, a tracer is only limited to a specific compartment. It cannot go to other compartment, so we can easily measure. So the tracer is the marker to measure that specific compartment. So for plasma compartment, albumin is a tracer. That is, we already studied that the albumin can't able to cross the capillary membrane because of its big size. So albumin is only limited to plasma membrane, and we can measure the compartment of the plasma through albumin. And in extracellular fluid, as I already discussed, that the sodium is the relative barrier for the cell membrane. It cannot able to cross the cell membrane passively, so we can use the sodium and other molecules like inulin, mannitol and sucrose like a tracer to measure the extracellular fluid. To measure the total body water, we use a tracer which is permeable both to the capillary and the cell membrane, so that it distributes in the whole bodily water. Okay, so these are the treated water and the urea which can distributes in the whole body compartment. This table summarizes everything we discussed just now. So the total body water is the 60% of the total human body weight, and in this 60%, 40% is the intracellular fluid, that is the two-third of the total body water, and the extracellular fluid is 20% of the total body water, that is one third of the total body water. And in this extracellular fluid, two-third is in interstitial fluid, that is three-fourth of the extracellular fluid, and one third is present in the plasma, that contributes around 5% of the total body water, and one-fourth of the extracellular fluid. And the tracer which we studied, that which is the marker used to measure the volume of the specific compartment. So for total body water, we use a titrated H2O, D2O and urea, because it can distributes in the whole body compartment. And to measure the extracellular fluid, we used inulin, mannitol, sodium, so because it is only limited to the extracellular fluid. And for plasma, we used albumin and Evans blue. And for the intracellular fluid, we just subtract the total body water with the extracellular fluid, and we get the interstitial fluid volume. And just like that, for interstitial fluid, we subtract the extracellular fluid with the plasma volume, and then we get the interstitial fluid volume. And we also discussed about the primary or the major cations and anions present in the different compartment of the body. So for intracellular fluid, potassium is the major cation, and the for extracellular fluid, sodium is the major cation, just like an so plasma and interstitial fluid is also is also a part of the extracellular fluid. So its major cation is also a sodium and sodium. And in major anions, the phosphate and proteins are the major anions which is found in the interstitial fluid volume, as I discussed. And in the extracellular fluid, chloride ion and bicarbonate are the major anion present in the extracellular fluid. And just like the other parts of the extracellular fluid, that is the plasma and the interstitial fluid, just in the plasma proteins are also abundant. Let's discuss one question based on the concept which we discussed. So a 24 years old man who is a football player and he participated in the clinical study. Okay, so we need to find his interstitial fluid volume, and his body weight is 100, inulin space is 20 liter, blood volume is 7 liter, plasma 4 liter, and the plasma osmolarity is 286 milli-osmol per liter. So the body weight is 100 kg. It means that its total body fluid is 60 kg or 60 liter. Okay, and inulin space is given. So just I discussed that inulin is the treasure of the extracellular fluid. So the inulin space is actually a extracellular space volume, that is the 20 liter. Okay, so we calculate that 60 kg is the total volume in that person. Out of 60 liter or 60 kg, 20 liter is the extracellular fluid. Okay, so it means that the 40 liter is the intracellular fluid, and we know that the interstitial fluid volume is present in the extracellular fluid. So the interstitial fluid volume must be lesser than 20 liter. So we need to find the plasma volume. So here is the 44 liter is the plasma volume of this person. So the extracellular fluid consists of interstitial volume plus plasma volume. So plasma volume is already 4, and the extracellular fluid is 20 liter. It means that the interstitial volume is 16 liter. Thank you.